So in the last lecture, we have discussed one problem on exponential smoothing method. That was this problem number 2. In today's lecture, in today's second lecture, we are going to discuss one more problem on the exponential smoothing method. And in this problem, we are comparing the solution with the linear regression analysis, or we can say that the least square method. Okay, so write down the problem statement. Problem number 3. Estimate the forecast for the year. Estimate the forecast for the year 2000. Estimate the forecast for the year 2000. Estimate the forecast for the year 2000 using exponential smoothing forecaster. Using exponential smoothing forecaster. Using exponential smoothing forecaster. Full stop. Take alpha is equal to 0.5. Take alpha is equal to 0.5. Take alpha is equal to 0.5 and forecast for the year 1995 and forecast for the year 1995 as 160 units. Forecast for the year 1995 as 160 units. 160 units. Compare the forecast with least square method. Compare the forecast with least square method. Okay, so this is the problem statement and data provided to you in the form of a year and cells. Okay, for the particular year, how much cell is happen, that data is provided. Now this cell is the actual demand or actual cell. Okay, so you can make two rows as year and cells. Okay, so year first one is 1995. That year cells was 180 unit. Then second year is 1996. The cell was 168 units. Then 1997, cell was 159 units. Then 1998, cell was 170 unit. And then the last year provided to you as 1999 and the cell was 188. Okay, so this data is provided to you. Now here, first of all, we have to estimate the forecasted demand by using two methodologies or two forecasting modules. One is least square method that we have learned, and in that method we have to determine the coefficients of line. Okay, or we can say that the constants of a line. Okay, line equation, that is A and B, and we are fitting the best fit line for the given data, and on that basis, after providing the proper deviations for the further data, we can determine the forecasted demand for the required period or required year. Okay, then for also in this problem we have to determine the exponential smoothing forecaster, or we can say that for forecasting purpose for given data we have to apply exponential smoothing method. Okay, and for that purpose they have provided the alpha is equal to 0.5 and for forecasting purpose by exponential smoothing method we required both the things, that is nothing but actual demand and forecasted demand. So for that purpose, for 1995 year, the forecasted demand is provided to you as a given data. Okay, so that is nothing but 160 units. Okay, 160 units. Okay, so first of all, we try to apply our least square method for the given data. Okay, least square method for the given data. So as we have used this method and quite number of problems we have solved on this methodology, so I think you are that much user friendly with that method, so that I will not spend more time on this methodology. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask related to that. So you can make it serial number or years. You can directly start with the years. So then sales or actual demand, and we have to provide that sales or the actual demand. We have to provide the variable as y, and then we have to calculate the deviation. Then we have to calculate the x square, that is nothing but deviation square, and the product of deviation and actual cell, that is nothing but x multiplied by y. Okay, so most important part is nothing but we have to provide the proper deviations for the given data. So now if you take this number of years, so 1 2 3 4 5, so total number of years are 5. Okay, so here I will write n is equal to 5. Then which one is the middle period? So in this case 1997 is the middle period. So origination or origin of a deviation should be considered for 1997 year, and for that purpose we have to provide the deviation is equal to 0, and next periods we have to provide the positive deviation as 1 2, and the previous period we have to provide the negative deviation as -1 and -2. Okay, so then you have to calculate the summation of y, summation of x, as it is the requirement of formulation, so that you need to calculate that summation of y, summation of x. Then x square, that is the deviation square, -2 square is 4, -1 square is 1, 0 square is 0, 1 square is 1, and 2 square is 2. Okay, then you have to calculate x multiplied by y. Okay, x multiplied by y. So 180 multiplied by -2. Okay, 180 multiplied by -2. Okay, so that will be 360, and it will be the -360, right? So then 168 multiplied by -1, that will be the -168. Okay, then 0 multiplied by 159, so it will become a 0 only. Okay, then 1 multiplied by 170, so that will become 170. Then 188 multiplied by 2, so 80 multiplied 360 plus 8 to the 16, so 376. Okay, then you have to calculate the bottom line, that is nothing but summation of y, summation of x, summation of x square, and summation of x multiplied by y. So these are required parameters for the calculation of constants in the line equation, that is nothing but a and b. Okay, so do calculation and let me know summation of y value, summation of x value, summation of x square. So summation of x square is easy. 4 plus 1 5, 5 plus 5 10. So I'll write here, but other calculation you need to perform and let me know your values. You can comment in the chat box.
सर तिथे 4 येते 2च्या ठिकाणी.
Now it is right. Check the other values also. Okay, don't miss. If you made a mistake in one of the cell, then also the problem, there might be chances of wrong calculation. Okay, so tell me summation of y, how much? Okay, 865. Okay, 865. Summation of x, summation of x, it will be become 0. Okay, that is the basis of deviation provided. If it will not be equal to 0, then we are unable to solve the problem. So then the last one is x multiplied by y. How much it is? 18. Okay, 18. Okay, so I will not take much more time for this. We know that a can be calculated by using summation of y divided by n. So our first equation, that is normal equation, summation of y is equal to n multiplied by a plus b multiplied by summation of x. That is the normal equation for the line. And in that equation, if you put up summation of x is equal to 0, then we can get the formula of calculation of a, that is summation of y divided by n. Now summation of y is 865 and n is nothing but 0.5. Okay, only 5, not 0.5. So calculate a value in a similar fashion. Okay, 173. A is equal to 173. Okay. Similarly, the second equation for normal equation for the line is summation of x multiplied by y plus is equal to a multiplied by summation of x plus b multiplied by summation of x square. So in that equation, second equation, whenever we are putting summation of x is equal to 0, then we will get the equation for b as b is equal to summation of x multiplied by y whole divided by summation of x square. So summation of x multiplied by y we have calculated as 18. Okay, just put up over here, and the summation of x square is 10. So calculation is very simple. So 18 divided by 10, it will become 1.8. Okay, so our line equation is y is equal to a plus bx. So in this equation, whatever the constant values, that is nothing but a and b we have calculated, we have to put up that values in equation so that we will get the line equation. Y is equal to a value is 173 plus b is 1.8 multiplied by x. Okay, I will insert the symbol multiply by x. Okay, so now here we have fitted the straight line. Now the next, our output or we need to calculate the forecasted demand for the year 2000. Now here once again check the deviations. So after 1999, the next year is 2000. For 1999 year, we have provided the 2 deviations. So what will be the deviation for 2000 year? Obviously it will be equal to 3. So x is equal to 3. Just put up this x is equal to 3 in this line equation. Okay, x is equal to 3 in this line equation, and calculate the y. So I will say y suffix 2000. Okay, so that is nothing but demand for year 2000. Okay, it is 178.4, right? 178.4. So I will copy this just here. Y 178.4 units. Okay, so that will be your answer for half question. That is nothing but forecasting by using linear regression or least square method. Now the second part of the problem is nothing but we have to determine the forecasted demand for year 2000 by using smoothing constant, or we have to consider the exponential smoothing method to solve the problem. Now in the problem, alpha is provided 0.5 and the forecasted demand for the 1995 is provided as 160 unit. Okay, so that this is the given data, because for the linear regression, or we can say that the least square method, which does not require the forecasted demand. Actually it is we are considering the actual demand. Okay, this is the actual demand and we are considering the actual demand for only for calculation of forecasted demand for the next year of this particular series. Okay, so it does not require forecasted demand anywhere in the least square method, but for smoothing method, for exponential smoothing method, we required the forecasted demand. As we know that in a smoothing method, the forecasted demand of a next period is depend upon the actual demand and forecasted demand of a previous year. So for the 1995 year, 160 unit is the forecasted demand and actual demand is 180 unit. So that will be the basic data we require to calculate the forecasted demand for the next periods. Okay, next period. So we can write here that demand for the year 2000 by using the exponential smoothing method, demand for year 2000 by using exponential smoothing method, comma, alpha is equal to 0.5, alpha is equal to 0.5 for the year 1995, for the year 1995, 0.5 comma forecast for the year 1995 as 160 units, as 160 unit. Okay, use our exponential smoothing methodology formula, that is f of t is equal to f of t minus 1 inside the bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha into d suffix t minus 1. Okay, so you can make the column in this manner. Okay, and I will take this to the next page. Okay, so that we can solve it easily. Okay, so you can prepare a table which consists of a column period demand, forecasted demand for alpha is equal to 0.5 and f of t. Okay, so it is, so demands and the period are given data. Also the forecasted demand for 1995 is also given data. So you can write the for period 1995 demand is 180 and the forecasted demand for alpha 0.5 is 160 unit. Okay, so f of t, we can say that here directly f of t. I have segregated this and I will do the calculation over here only. Okay, so I will take this formula and I will paste over here. So so now if you want to calculate the forecasted demand for the 1996 year, okay, so how you are going to calculate this? So directly I will write here f of t minus 1. F of t minus 1 is nothing but forecasted demand for the previous period. So it is equal to 160. 1 minus alpha, alpha is 0.5. Okay, here also alpha is 0.5 and d suffix t minus 1. That is actual demand of a previous period, that is 180. Okay, So we'll insert the symbol multiplication. Okay, so 180. Okay, and whatever the out calculation part is there, whatever the value you are getting, you can write in this column. Okay, in this column. Okay, so similarly, if you get some value, then that value you can use for the next periods, and you can calculate the forecasted demand for the particular period. Okay, so how much this is forecasted demand for the 1996 year? 170. So you can write here 170. Okay, 169.5. Okay, 69.5. It is right. 169.5. Please check, or 170. 170. I'm getting two answer, different answer. 170 and 169.5. Okay, which one should I select? 170 or 169.5? 170. Okay, I will go with the 100.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
DT -1 आहे ना तिथं
180
-1 फॉर्म्युला मध्ये.
in this formula.
हा हियर.
D suffix T minus 1 आहे.
हा मी DT -1 केलता.
नाही, D suffix T minus 1. This suffix is for the period. Okay, which period? T minus 1 means current period. If you are considering T, okay, then previous period it will become T minus 1. No, getting my point? We are using the same formula, D suffix T minus 1. Now F of T means what? The forecasting for the given period, and F of T minus 1 means what? Forecasting for the previous period. Okay, T minus 1 shows which period you are going to consider. Okay, this suffix is shows which period you are going to consider. This T minus 1 here also which period is going to consider. So if you are considering 1996 year as F of T, then 1995 year as F of T minus 1. Okay, or the forecasting for that period, that is 160, it will become F of T minus 1 right now. In a similar fashion, actual demand will become D suffix T minus 1, and it is equal to 180. Okay, so 170 I will consider over here. Now for the next year, similarly you are going to consider the same things. Now here the forecasted demand is 170. Okay, and the actual demand for the previous period is 168. Okay, 168. So do calculation and let me know your answer. 174. Okay, kindly check others also. You are getting the same answer. Next, for the next year, similarly, we are going to consider the previous year's forecasted demand and actual demand. Forecasted demand is 174 and actual demand is 159. Okay, 174. Okay, for the next year, 1998. Do calculation everyone and let me know your answer for the next year. 19. Dhanashree is saying 1997 169. 1997 169.
Yes, sir. 169 will come.
169 is right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Then if you get 169, then here f of t minus 1 will become 169, right? And actual demand is 159. Okay, so d suffix t minus 1 will become 159. $164. Okay. 164, right? For 98, 164. Okay. Now consider 164 as f of t minus 1 for the next period. $164. Okay. And the actual demand is 170. Now let me know for 1999 year. $167. Okay. 167. Right? Right. Okay. Nilesh is also saying. Okay. For the next year, my f of t minus 1 will become 167. 167. And d suffix t minus 1, it will become 188. Now, final answer you will get over here for the year 2000, the forecasted demand. $177.5, right? 177.5. Okay, so this is the final answer by using the exponential smoothing method, right? And what we are getting by using the linear regression, 178.4. Okay, 178.4. Getting everyone? Is there any doubt, any question? Note down the things. Okay. Note down the things. If you are not written. I hope you understood how to solve the problems by exponential smoothing method, how to determine the forecasting, how to do the forecasting on the basis of exponential smoothing method. But here you remember one thing, that in case of a linear regression, or we can say that regression analysis or least square method, we does not require the forecast of a previous periods. Okay. In that case, in least square method, we are considering the actual demand only. Okay. And we are projecting the forecasted demand for the next period. Okay. So this is for the least square method. But in case of exponential smoothing method, to determine the next forecasting, next period forecasting, we required previous period actual demand also and forecasted demand also. क्या क्या लगता है हमें, उस साल के लिए एक्चुअल डिमांड कितना था और उस साल के लिए फोरकास्टेड डिमांड कितना था, ये दोनों चीजें हमें नेक्स्ट ईयर के फोरकास्टिंग के लिए और नेक्स्ट पीरियड के फोरकास्टिंग के लिए चाहिए होती है. ओके, एंड फिट द फॉर्मूला इन योर माइंड, मग अप इट, don't forget the formula that f of suffix t is equal to f of t minus 1 inside the bracket 1 minus alpha plus alpha multiplied by d suffix t minus 1. Okay, this is the formula. Okay, this is the basic formula, and on that basis we can write the previous periods formulas also. We can derive that formulas. Okay, is there any doubt, any question? Whether you understood the exponential smoothing method?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will stop the share this. Okay, share screen, and I will share. Okay, share. Okay, write down the next type of forecasting, that is nothing but causal forecasting method. Causal forecasting method. Okay, causal forecasting method. Causal forecasting method. Okay, so cause means what? Cause, कारण आपण ज्याला म्हणतो. Okay, what is the reason or reason? Cause means reason. Okay, so in this causal forecasting method, different reasons are determined for variation of forecast or for the variation of actual demand from the forecasted demand. Okay, and this identification will help you to reduce the variation. Okay, to reduce the variation. Now, previous problems we have discussed that there is an error between actual demand and forecasted demand. Okay, error between actual demand and forecasted demand. So why this error happen? Okay, is there any problem in the production line? Okay, whether there is a problem related to the worker, okay, whether the problem related to the skills. So all is there any pandemic situation in the market? Is there any earthquake or drought, and the effect of that, all the parameters on the actual demand of a product? Is there another market person or another party entered in the market which is having the similar kinds of products, and that is competing, that products are competing with our company products, and the effect of that particular products in our product sale. Okay, the cost effect on the product. Okay, so these are the various causes or the reasons for the fluctuation of actual demand or variation of actual demand from the forecasted demand. Okay, because forecasting is the basis for the planning. So on the basis of a forecasting, we are running our business, or we are running our production line, or our shop floor. Okay, and it is the basis for a planning. And if this there is a large error between the actual demand and forecasted demand, then that is not a good sign for the company. Okay, so in that case, we have to determine what are the different factors that are affecting on the actual demand of our product in the market. Okay, so causal method tries to identify the factors which are causes the variation of demand and try to establish a relationship between the demand and this factor. Okay, between the demand of this factor relationship. If you consider that, what is meant by relationship or how to establish a relationship? So we have discussed about the linear regression analysis or the least square method. So in that case also, we are establishing the relation between y and x. Okay, x is the deviation. Yes, right. So that deviation is connected to the time frame. Okay, and y is the demand. Okay, y is the demand. So in that also, we are establishing the relationship between the time frame, that is nothing but deviation from the origin, and the demand of that particular product in the market. Similarly, there are various as I have listed now only, there are various factors that are affecting positively or negatively on the product demand. Okay, so which factor affect positively, which factor affects negatively, and what is the relationship between the demand and that particular factor, that should be determined, so that if something happen like this in the market, so that we can predict what will happen about our product, whether the sale of the product will increase or the sale of the product will decrease. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, so now take this season, this particular winter season. Now from after the Diwali, whatever the 3-4 months are there, so that will be considered as a winter season. Now in this time period, we can say that the warm clothes having more demand in the market. But what happened in last 2 weeks? What happened in the last 2 weeks? Suddenly the unassumed rainy season started once again from the last 2 weeks, and because of that, the temperature of environment or environmental temperature suddenly increased, and due to that, that will affect on the sale of warm clothes. Okay, like hoodies and all that things, sweaters and all that thing. So the sale was suddenly reduced, and this is the cause. Okay, this is the what is the cause? Cause is the environmental condition. So but it is unwanted, we can say that it is not a controllable factor, not a controllable factor. So what is controllable factor, which are in our hand, that will be the considered as a controllable factor. So environmental factor are to be considered as a non-controllable factor. So this is the cause and how it happened, and what will happen, how to tackle this particular problem related to warm cloth selling. So find out the prediction, or go to the Google, go to the weather applications, and try to find out when the temperature will get. Okay, so how much days this particular rainy season, or how much days the rain will be there in this particular area, and determine that time factor, and what will be the temperature level, or what will be the environmental condition after that particular time period, whether the temperature will get increase or suddenly drop. So that need to determine. Okay, so this is the common sense that whenever in winter season the raining, or we can say that rain forecasting is there, or rain will happen, after that, after 1 to 2 weeks, the temperature will suddenly drop. Okay, and the environment will be very much colder one. Okay, so that is the forecasting related to the weather and the effect of that forecasting on our product. So that need to be determined. So that is the factor of causal forecasting method. Okay, causal forecasting method. The objective of this method is to establish a cause and effect relationship between the changes in a sales level of the product. Okay, so causal method, which are the different causal method? Regression and correlation analysis. Okay, that we have discussed. Regression analysis we have discussed. Then input output analysis and end use analysis. These are the 3 different methods which are used in a causal methodology or causal model. Okay, so regression analysis. Okay, it is a forecasting technique that establishes a relationship between the variable. Okay, and historical data establish a functional relation between the 2 variables. What are the different type of correlations in a regression analysis? Positive correlation or a negative correlation, or a simple or a multiple correlation, linear or non-linear relation. Positive correlation means what? Let us consider one factor we have considered here, okay, y, and one factor we have considered here, x. Okay, so positive correlation means what? This is the positive correlation. Okay, so that is nothing but what? If one factor increased, the other factor also get increased. Okay, sorry. Okay, the other factor also get increased. Okay, so that is nothing but what? The positive correlation. Negative correlation means what? This is the negative correlation. One factor is increasing. Okay, X is increasing, but Y is decreasing. Okay, Y is decreasing. So this is the negative correlation. So some of the factor that if that factor affecting on the product or it comes into the picture, but particular factor, the product cell will get reduced. Okay, so that is nothing but negative correlation. Simple correlation. If you are saying that there are two variables are there including in that particular correlation, then that correlation will be considered as a simple correlation. If multiple variables like X, Y, Z, okay, so more than two variables are included in particular correlation, then that correlation will be considered as a multiple correlation. Okay, then that particular correlation will be considered as a multiple correlation. And what is meant by linear? Linear means that, okay, this is the linear, also this is also linear. Okay, and non-linear means what? Linear means what? If you are able to draw a straight line, or that particular correlation follows the line equation, that is we have discussed that y is equal to a plus bx. Okay, a plus bx. If any data follows this equation, then that particular relationship or the relationship between two variables will be considered as a linear relation. Non-linear means what? If you consider the fluctuation, okay, like this, okay, or like this, okay, so these are the non-linear relation. Or if you say one point is here, another point is here, okay, another point is here, another point is here, okay, another point is here, here one point, here one point. So are you able to draw a straight line which having minimum error between these particular points? Okay, are you able to draw? Yes, you can say that you can draw this line. Okay, so which is having minimum error for this there are about 6 points, but 2 points are very much away from this this particular line, so deviation will be very much larger one in this particular case. So you are not able to draw a proper straight line, or the data is not following the straight line equation. So in that case, that relationship will be called as a non-linear correlations. Okay, non-linear correlations. Getting everyone? Regression and correlation. Okay, is there any doubt, any question in that? Whether you understood what is meant by cause and effect method or causal forecast method? इसमें हम क्या करते हैं? हम प्रोडक्शन सेल्स पे होने वाले इफेक्ट को जानने की कोशिश करते हैं. ओके, बाय द वेरियस फैक्टर्स, जो डिफरेंट फैक्टर्स रहते हैं. ओके, उन फैक्टर्स की सेल्स में नहीं तो प्रोडक्शन पे क्या इफेक्ट होता है, ये जानने की कोशिश हम कॉजल फोरकास्टिंग मेथड में करते हैं. इसमें पहले हम डिफरेंट फैक्टर्स डिटरमाइन करते हैं और उनका सेल फोरकास्टिंग से क्या रिलेशन है वो डिटरमाइन करने की कोशिश करते हैं. ओके, सम फैक्टर्स आर पॉजिटिव फैक्टर, मींस व्हाट? इफ दैट फैक्टर comes in the picture for a particular product, the growth or the sale of that particular product will increase drastically. Negative effect will be considered as if that factor comes in the picture, then the product sale was or product sale goes on decreasing. Okay, that is nothing but negative effect of a particular factor. Okay, so write down causal forecast method. Causal forecast method. causal forecast method. In that you can write causal method tries to identify causal methods tries to identify causal method try to identify the factors try to identify the factors which causes the variation of demand 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 and try to establish a relationship and try to establish a relationship between the demand and these factors between the demand and these factors and between the demand and these factors. Next point, analysts try to identify analyst tries to identify those factors those that the best explain the level of sales The objective of this method is to establish a cause and effect relationship between the changes in sales level of the product between the changes in sales level of the product. Okay, full stop. Causal methods, different causal methods. First one, regression and correlation analysis. Second one, input output analysis. Regression and correlation analysis. Second one, input dash output analysis. And third one is end use analysis. Okay, next, write down the heading, regression and correlation. Regression and correlation. Regression and correlation. In that you can write, it is forecasting technique that establishes the relationship between variables. Second point, historical data establishes a functional relationship between the two variables, full stop. Next point, types of correlations. First one is positive and negative correlation. First one is positive and negative correlations. Then second one, simple and multiple correlations. Third one, linear and non-linear correlations. Okay. So, is there any doubt, any question you can ask? Is there any doubt, any question? No? Whether you understood causal forecasting and regression and correlation, one of the type of causal forecasting. Okay. So another part is the coefficient of correlation. Okay, that we will take in the next lecture, and Carl's personal coefficient and problems on that. Okay. So, and the last point is errors, different types of errors. Okay, that is the part remaining. 2 points are remaining in this particular chapter. So we try to finish it in this week only. Okay. So now we'll stop here. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask, or else you can put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave. Yes.